Time when we've been having election in Nigeria, our politician resort to using cultists give ammunition. This is evidence, which is sin. They help them to get the office, then they promise them a lot of things. Then when they get to the office, they do nothing for them. So they end up getting to the streets, venting their anger, and then dispossessing people of their possession. Okay, talking about cult clash in my constituency and what I would do differently, I would like to give a brief background on the issue of cultism in the area. You see, government hasn't been responsible so far to the streets. Let me just say that. Government hasn't been taken down to the streets so far. And then most of the time when we've been having election in Nigeria, our politician resort to using cultists give ammunition. This is evidence, which is sin. They help them to get the office, then they promise them a lot of things. Then when they get to the office, they do nothing for them. So they end up getting to the streets, venting their anger, and then dispossessing people of their possession. So I've spoken with some of them even before now. I've organized the left and right on how to make a peace talk in my community. And what I get from them is, oftentimes they call me uncle. Uncle is not actually like that. We don't also want to be living like this, but there's no means of livelihood, there's nothing. I've got that from them. Many of them, if they see what to live on, they will be fine. And then I know some of them who want to go to school, who have handwork, but there's no way to establish themselves. And we've been seeing this oftentimes. I have an example of a young man who is into one of these frats. I spoke with him one-on-one at election period about maybe 15 or 16 years ago. I can't remember specifically. I said, why are you disturbing yourself, using your own destiny to serve another person who will not remember you when he gets there? He said, I don't know what to do. So most of them need us to relate with them, to reason together. And when we were talking, I had to, okay, what can we do together? I don't have millions. Okay, let's do GC. I encouraged him. He puts in for GC exam and he passed. He puts in for JAM, he passed. He went to Moshood Abiola Poly. He studied there. By the time he came back home, he was not the same person that was taken from the streets. And this isn't an investment, monetary investment on someone. They just need a partner, someone to be a friend, to relate with them. And very many others like that have encouraged. What have you done? Said, I learned aluminium. Go back to that. Come to my office, get a job. Don't come to me every day and ask for, bros, I'm hungry, take this. I will not give you again. Once you have something to deliver, go there, go and check our windows. Fix them. We'll pay you your money. That's a way to get things done. And for this, I have seen that these guys are not bad as we say they are. But our government and politicians in Nigeria have actually shown them the bad way. They've been using them in a very wrong way. So in my involvement and the plan that I have, I know that if God makes it possible and the people of my constituency make this possible, I know this will be a thing of the past. Some of those boys need to be established. Some of those boys need to be sensitized. We are planning a ground for them where we can sensitize them and then establish them in one way or the other. So government hasn't been doing this. They remember them every 3 years. When they know next year is election, they remember them, they come for them, they give them 100,000, give them this. And the money will be used on frivolities, not things that have to do with their lives. So as a representative, I know these plans that I've even spoken with some of them one-on-one. Let's establish ourselves instead of disturbing the streets. And some have been taken away from the street through this medium. And if we get the power, there are a lot of things to be done. Not when they vote for you, you vanish from the streets. That's the horrible thing that is happening to our community. In the aspect of drug use, the illicit drug use, let me use that. In 2018, I was with some youths when I was in a class lecturing, and I noticed they put some things in their drink, and one started misbehaving. In the course of that, since 2011, in my community, I have a program for youth and teenagers. I call it Life's Class. and it comes up every third Saturday of the month. So I always just encourage, speak about life. Let's ask questions. Let's talk about things affecting us. And part of this thing is drug, the illicit use of drug. So I saw them when they were doing it, and I encouraged them. So I noticed that if I encourage this few, about less than 50 in this place, the larger community needs to be sensitized as well. So in 2018, I went further. I even organized them right from my class. I called some friends in different places. I've worked with TV station before, MITV specifically, before I chose to be a tutor. So I spoke with them. Can we do this? They said, yes, we can. Let's have community against drug abuse. And I saw on a TV program where an NDLEA official was talking. I got the contact from there. I spoke with the man live. And the man directed me to Airport Road, where I met with some NDLEA officials. And I called them. We want to organize in our community, community against drug abuse. It worked. They responded, and I went to Unilag. I spoke with a pharmacist. You will talk about the effect of drug in alcohol. All these things are online. They are verifiable. I just because of that program, I founded an organization called Reforms Initiative to just push it on. We did that, called some Muslim clergy, Christians, educational consultants, come and speak on the negative use of drug on youths as a whole. They came up, it was so superb. In fact, TVC was there. They televised it. It was so beautiful for my community. So if I get the power to be a representative in my community, I know I've not been in government, but we've been doing all this, even from our youth age. Before we get to this stage, we're still youth anyway. From our tender age, we've been doing this on how to sensitize people. And these are things we ought to be seeing people in government doing. But they're not doing. But I feel so bad when we say our youth doing this kind of thing. But I know by the time they have a responsible person in government who is not particular about his office, but particular about the people he represents, he could speak with them and he could do something meaningful with them through sensitization. Another way is this. I noticed in every angle in Lagos State, generally, they sell, I don't know, the small sachet of, they call it paraga, pelebe, and separate names they've given to it. These things are not good for our youths. In fact, I noticed 9-year-old, 10-year-old are taking it. And from there, they graduate to others, tramadol and this. Lagos State government actually banned tramadol and all that. We don't need to ban, we need to regulate. Government hasn't been saying it from the angle of regulation. Once there is a defect, they want to ban that thing. You're killing someone's business. You don't need to. You regulate. How do you do that? We have pharmacies. They have their regulations. They have their laws. These also drugs, don't sell it to the people at this age. And make sure there's a task force that will monitor the regulation. Follow it up so that someone's business will not be killed in the course of selling tramadols. And it's not a bad drug, but the way our youth has been using it. Even if you want to sell this drug to a pregnant woman, you must have doctor's prescription signed before it is sold to them. But today, anybody can go to any pharmacist. In most places, though we have professional pharmacists that will never do that. But generally, they will go to places, they will buy what they want to get, and they will go scot-free without even checking how old are you, what do you want to use it for. Nobody's asking these things. Our society needs to be redefined in the right direction. So with this government regulation from the lawmaking angle, they could clear it. And I think most of our people need sensitization. We need more of that. My take on ASUU strike versus federal government is this, that I'm not saying ASUU demanding too much. ASUU as a body, it's not demanding too much. When I was in the university, I was in class and my lecturer just got angry at the time with us in the class and said, look at me, I woke up 4:30, leave my house and get to the office. I will teach from morning till night and I get 450,000 per month. And look at the student I trained. Once they get to government, the money I cannot have in a whole year, they get it in a month. How is it supposed to be? Now, this is the thing. A country or a nation that does not value education will actually drain. And that's where we are today. Lack of education will drain us, and we are there. And I'm not saying ASU demanding so much. What I'm just saying is our government hasn't been frugal in spending for so long till date. And the priority of the government is not even education. And not even education alone. The health sector isn't working. I look at what sector is actually working in Nigeria, except the sector of making money into the pockets of politicians. That sector will never go down or die. So I've seen that ASU, I even hope that if ASU can just make this strike the final strike in Nigeria, they should fight it to finish and settle it once. But lives have been wasted, our students are at home. The feedback I get from them is so worrisome. Many of our girls are into hookups. They don't go out. On WhatsApp, hook up, you go, come back. Our boys now are into fraudulent act online. They can get access into your bank account even without your notice. They will get all your details. They will call you up. You give them information. Your money is gone. How do we get here? It is because the politicians are the bigger thieves. Now today, some of us are becoming politicians. It's because we're coming up to change the narrative of governance in Nigeria. People that we have there are just getting there to fund their own personal business and then make life for themselves. School abroad, if anything happens here, they get their way. But when it comes to ASU, government hasn't been there. Look at medical that I said, the healthcare. Our doctors are abroad doing fine. And I know if our teachers are there too, if they get the chance here to just get out of this country, they would do. Then we'll have nobody to be a teacher. I was in front of some students and I was asking, who wants to be a teacher here? Who wants to be a lecturer? They reject being one, of which they will end up being there because that's the option they could get. If they finish from school, there's nothing, they resort to being teachers. So I want government, I wish government can be very responsive and place more value on education. But that will not happen because people we have in government are not even well educated. Many of them are people that went to class, but they never attended lectures. In Unilag, for example, you need to have, I think, 60% or 70% of class attendance. Many of them, I have seen many of them. When I was doing my master's in Unilag, a particular position was with me in class. He came to school once, and we did exam, we did all. He wasn't there in our class. I don't want to mention here, in our class, he wasn't there. He only came to school once, paid for everyone's material, and we recognized him, we held him. I wasn't around then. I felt bad that he didn't pay for my material, but maybe I would have eaten part of my own benefits from Nigeria. So he made a lot of marks. In fact, lecturers are supporting. This is a way our country has been reduced. And for us that went to school, we read, you will sweat, even to pass is a whole lot of things. That's how they have reduced us. They have reduced secondary school education. And the way I am saying it, the university education is also leading there. Because nobody will be able to attend university education. They wouldn't want to experience strike. And people are establishing, even these people in government, Atiku, Obasanjo, they are fathers that are now going to establish their own private universities. Why? It is because they want to run their personal business at the expense of Nigeria. So their personal interest has been placed above the national interest, and this isn't good. We cannot do without education, and that's where we are. Our youth are useless now. I mean useless. When they say useless, they want to use us for thuggery during election, get back to us, okay, do this, do this. No, we are saying this time that enough is enough. If we need a new Nigeria, that new Nigeria must place more value on education. And this wouldn't be done if we don't count ASU as a strong body. Not a strong body just like that, but a strong body to inculcate the right thinking and the moral value into our society. So I think we need a government. And the AAC government is ready. I can vouch for this. The AAC government is ready to make a difference in terms of this. Noting that our presidential candidate has experienced all this in the university before now, and I know he's also ready to make a difference. He said it. Now, during his own tenure, if he is elected as a president, no ASU strike will come up. So I think we need him. Level of preparation of African Action Congress, AAC, is very awesome. Let me first start from there. One, the party as a whole, the states and the National Working Committee is planning to host all candidates from all angles in the Federation. One, they want to give orientation to all candidates, then sensitize them on the rules, not just go in there, you need to know what you're going for. So that's coming up very soon, it will be televised nationwide. And then from my own end, the first thing one must do when you're planning to contest for your community, for the benefit of your community, you need to consult. We've been consulting with stakeholders and people in the community, knowing fully well that there's a party, an existing party, a ruling party on ground, and we understand the nitty-gritty to go about them, and then getting involved and calling youth, women, people that have the vision to make life better through governance. We've been doing that even before we commenced the proper campaign in September. From my constituency has been beautiful. Number one, for the fact that young people in Lagos or in Nigeria have not been responsive to government. Seeing it that young people are coming up, and not just young people, in quotes, they are young, responsible, and young people that are responsive to community development. They are coming up. The feedback was good and nice. Even from the opposition, I must say this, even from the opposition, the feedback has been nice. And to talk of the women and the youth, and based on the fact that it's the person they've known in the community who has been doing one or two things for the development of the community, the feedback was excellent.